as winter fades into the background and spring moves to the foreground. Animals begin to prepare for the next phase of life: reproduction. We followed one of our favorite raptors every step of the way for over 2 months, watching as they went from a hopeful pair to protecting their eggs, raising their young, and ultimately helping them to leave the nest. We were met with quite a surprise along the way. This is a tale of two raptors. It's early March. We join our red-shouldered hawks at their nest. Like most raptors, red-shouldered hawks are perennial nesters, reusing the same nest year after year. This is not the first year they've used it. It will need some maintenance. Satisfied with the results, she lays in her eggs. They've likely had their eggs for a week or two already. It isn't just the females that tend the nest. Males are every bit as involved. They tend the eggs and bring food for their mate. They aren't the only raptors in the area. Just a few hundred feet away, swallow-tailed kites also have a nest. These two raptors each occupy a different ecological niche. Kites are lightly built raptors, preferring insects. Hawks prefer to take on larger prey. They tolerate each other's presence. Some white ibis join them in their tree. White ibis are very gregarious birds. They often spend time in large groups, both with each other and other species, whether those other species like it or not. Spring weather doesn't always cooperate with the hawks. Windy conditions can make nesting interesting. Now that the cypress trees have regained their needles, the hawks can harvest them and bring them back to the nest. Cypress needles can act as an insect repellent, helping to keep the nest free of pests. This is necessary for birds that reuse their nest year after year. The hawk returns with part of a snake. Its mate seems less than thrilled. It leaves. By late March, we finally get our first look at the babies. 2 adorable fuzzy white hawk chicks. At this stage, the chicks aren't usually left alone for long. Dad returns with an anole. It hands it off to its mate, who uses it to feed the chicks. The anole is a small, color-changing lizard commonly found in the Okefenokee swamp. This will go on for weeks. As the babies get larger, they'll need more and more food. Now in early April, it's business as usual. The hawks bring in regular deliveries of food. This time, it's an amphuma, an aquatic salamander commonly found in the Okefenokee. They can reach lengths of nearly 4 feet, sometimes referred to as conger eels. Their limbs are vestigial and barely function. In spite of having only 28 chromosomes, amphumas have roughly 25 times as much DNA as a human. Less than a mile away, we were met with quite a surprise. Barred owls are also raising their young. They've managed to avoid our gaze for weeks. Owls generally prefer to nest in cavities, but in a place that burns as often as the Okefenokee, cavities can be hard to come by. Sometimes they have to settle for reusing a nest built by another bird. Their chicks are further along than the hawks, but the story is the same. They have to eat. Mom is off to find more food. Further up the canal, the hawks need to eat too. A parent brings them a pig frog. Sometimes called the southern bullfrog, they're the largest frog in the Okefenokee swamp. Red-shouldered hawks rely on their vision to hunt. They'll perch on low branches, scanning the ground below. Once they spot their prey, they'll glide silently down, snatching it up with their talons. They'll also hunt on foot, even wading through shallow water to flush out food. Mom waits as part of a meal. This is not a good week to be an amphuma. They're easy prey in shallow waters brought on by drought conditions. The barred owl chicks are already learning to fly. They're well ahead of the hawks in their development. they're beginning to leave the nest for the first time. Male barred owls are not as involved as male hawks in the development of the chicks, but they do defend their territory and occasionally bring food to the females. Barred owls will eat a variety of prey. Today, it's a flying squirrel. Being a bit larger than the hawks means they can hunt larger animals, but they also require more food. After a couple of weeks, more pest control is needed. One of them brings more fresh cypress. As Dad flies away, we get another surprise. A third chick. Red-shouldered hawks do not lay all their eggs on the same day, leading to asynchronous hatching. One of these babies may be smaller than the others, and didn't reveal itself until now. Two of the babies are large enough that they're beginning to move around, stretching their wings. More pest control. Mom extends her wings to shield the babies from the sun. Back at the owl nest, the babies are beginning to explore surrounding trees. They explore the world around them the only way they can, with their mouths. Preening each other strengthens their bond and helps them remove parasites. Today, they seem fascinated by feet. Maybe they have something in common with human babies after all. The next morning, we find them together with the sounds of the swamp all around. Dad is in a low tree nearby, searching for food. Owls often swallow their prey whole. Their digestive system can't break down bones, fur, and feathers, so they're regurgitated in a small mass called an owl pellet. He sees something below him at once. He strikes, disappearing into the grass. Barred owls rely heavily on their hearing to hunt, often finding prey under dense cover. A ratchet-like mechanism in their feet enables them to grip prey like a vice. He emerges from the grass, empty-handed. Barred owls have a relatively high success rate when hunting, upwards of 80%. Still, not every hunt can be a success. More than 4 weeks endure a time with these hawks, and the babies are exploring their surroundings. The deliveries continue. The babies move further from the nest every day. They still rely on their parents, but less and less. With 3 mouths to feed, and those mouths getting bigger every day, the parents have to work overtime to keep them fed. Amphibians and snakes today. Before long, they'll be leaving the nest too. By the 5th week, the baby hawks begin leaving the nest. Even though they're behind the owls in age, they seem to master flying more quickly. They too will still rely on their parents for food. But in the coming days, we'll see less and less of them as well, as they too explore further afield. Over time, they will become competition for their parents. This will force them to strike off on their own. They'll claim their own territory. They'll seek out mates. In just a couple of years' time, they will have their own families. And, with a little luck, we'll get to watch their young grow up as well. We're very privileged to get to watch the lives of these 2 incredible species play out. Just one of the many privileges the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge provides us all with.